Okay, so if you wouldn't mind just telling us your name, your age, and where you're from originally.
Okay, my name is Otis Booker. I'm originally from Los Angeles, California, LA County, rather. I'm 53, and I just recently got out of prison less than a month ago after serving 31 years for a second-degree murder.
Okay, thank you. And if you wouldn't mind sharing what we were talking about earlier, just regarding the prison life culture and what it's like, and you were saying how it was organized, and just if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit of what it's like and the rules and things that you were telling me.
Well, the organized and disciplined part is that you always have to be accountable. You always have to be around and counted on for should anything occur. Whatever group you're with, if you're if you're a Mexican, you're usually with the Sureños. If you're a white, you're usually with the whites and skinheads, whatever they have going on there, and the blacks, Crips, Bloods, BGF or whatever. So you always have to, you're always forced into a group, and you're always labeled. So if you're a Mexican national, they're going to throw you in with the Mexican nationals. They're going to refer to you as a border brother. The man always has a tag for you. So it's hard to get away from tags. And then, among the prisoners, you also have another set of labels or tags, so to speak. Okay, you could be from a barrio. If you're a Sureño, you claim this barrio. Or nowadays they're saying, he's just a resident. That means that, okay, he grew up in Escondido per se, but he's just a resident there. He's not from this side or that side of it or any particular thing, so he's just a resident. I don't know if they play that here in San Diego, but I know in LA County they play that. And it's kind of a weird and stupid thing, I think, nowadays, because the whole thing is we're supposed to allegedly be one. That's the package they sell you. So whether I'm from Norwalk or Barrio Norwalk or neighborhood or peaceful, if I'm a resident, then I'm set aside or what have you. I shouldn't be set aside. If I'm willing there to participate, I'm there to participate. I might participate even more so than somebody from a barrio. And in my case, I came in, and I used to be from Artesia, and so I represented my neighborhood while I was in prison, and I gravitated towards the Sureños, even though I look white. I chose my side as soon as I got there, and I made it known that that's who I was. I picked up my nickname in prison because the next door neighbor couldn't remember my name, so he would just holler over and call me Güero whenever he wanted something from me. So everybody would hear him call me Güero, so then that's when they started calling me Güero.
And what does that mean?
Güero, it's somebody with blonde hair or fair skin. So that's how I picked up my nickname. But I've always been Otis to everybody from home and my neighborhood. But in prison, I picked that up. So that was my that was the mask that I wore while I was inside. I was Güero from Artesia, and I represented that for the whole time that I was there. And the disciplinary parts that, like I said, were that you always had to be awake and ready when your cell door opened. You could never be asleep when you walked out of your cell, just in case something happened. You always had to keep your cell neat and clean, have your bed made. You had to represent the whole group in that sense. Should something happen, say I got into an argument or a physical altercation with a white or maybe a black, that problem would be either, in the old days it used to be resolved like, okay, if the white guy got out of line with me, and either he or I didn't settle it or whatever, then the whites would have to settle with it. Each group had to deal with their own people, and if they refused to do so, then we would take off on all of them. So I've been in situations like that several times.
Okay.
While in the SHU, especially the security housing unit, there were times when the blacks, if they didn't discipline one of their own, then they'd tell us outright we weren't going to do it, and we'd tell them, okay, well, don't worry about it. And then the next time we came out to the yard, we took off on all of them, stabbed them, slashed them, whatever it took, just to let them know that you're not going to play us like that. And you know, there's other things. You know, everybody has to be accountable for themselves, and the worst thing you could ever be told or called by your people is that you were a black. You know, that's what they do. We don't do that. This is how we act. So don't ever think that you can do this or do that, because that's what they do. When something goes wrong with us, we take care of it. They don't. They, you know what I mean? So it was always, they were always being spoon-fed that you have to be this, you have to represent, you have to be as best that you can be, because those people aren't like that, and you could see that they're not like that. And you know, I mean, that was the worst insult that you could say to us as Sureños, and the whites took it very seriously. You know, you could break a white with a word, the N-word like that, and he wouldn't know how to act. All he knows how to do is get violent or panic or what have you. So that's how much words, the significance that words have on people. You know, you could break a man like that with one word. You know, even though he says that, you know, you can't hurt me, you can't break me, but you call him a certain word and it's all over with, you know. So, you know, those are basically the types of disciplines that we had. You know, we always had to exercise and keep in shape, you know, and if you didn't, well, then you had to pay, you would have to do extra workout if you screwed the count up. Sometimes if we're working out and I get the count wrong, we have to start all over, or otherwise I'd be penalized. I'd have to go over in the corner and do, you know, 100 extra burpees or what have you. You know, so it was kind of a disciplined type of regimen, you know. But everybody had to participate in whatever it was, you know, whether it was something positive or negative, you must participate. I was never involved in any prison riots because I was always in the SHU for so long, so I missed out on a lot that had occurred, you know, that were televised, nationally televised and things like that. I was never part of them because I was always in the SHU. But you know, if I wasn't, you know, I would have had to have been right there in the middle of it, and at that time I would have voluntarily done so, you know, and I would have done like I always do, try and be the most brutal and vicious one out of them all, because still thinking that because of the way I look, I have to overcompensate for how I look and who I am. So that's how I lived my life for many years. When I was on the streets and while in prison, I always had to do something above and beyond what everybody else did just to prove myself.
I see.
That was a character defect of mine, a low self-esteem issue, you know, because I didn't like people saying that, oh, he's only half, you know, he's, in other words, so you're better than me because you're full Mexican, and I'm not as good as you because I'm half. Well, I'm going to show you that I can do anything you can do, and I can do it better. So that was the warped mentality that I had.